Well, good evening. You're very welcome to the Masters Championship round number 3 of Division 2 here at the Chinese Grand Prix. My name is Graham and I am joined tonight by the man, the myth, the legend. It is Dan Morris. Hi, Dan.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for the kind words, Graham. I thought you were going to call me something different, but you
Nah,
didn't.
you're
So
not Joe, so...
nah, I'm happy enough about that. But yeah, good to be back. Not often I do a stream because I'm never really free, but free tonight and said may as well crack on and give it an all go. So hopefully it's going to be a good one.
Hopefully. Stevie G, I believe, is going to get us started on the hard. So as he comes about onto this long back straight, and we'll see a bunch of laps come in a sec, would you like to take us through the standings as they are after 2 rounds?
I will indeed. So leading the way is TMC Coreboy after finishing first in Australia and third last week. He's in 40 points, doing very well at the minute. 2 podiums out of 2, 1 more than 1. Second behind him is 3 points behind is Sway and the McLaren. He's in 37. Mark Demand's in third on 36. And then Ali's in fourth on 16. So there's quite a big gap between third and fourth already. 20 points nearly. So looks like it's going to be a occurrence of the season where it's going to be Joe Corby, Sway and Mark Demand pretty much going to be the three-way fight for probably the title this season. Then Yarham's in 5th on 14 points and TMC Racy P1 is 6th on 14 points. And in the constructors, McLaren's leading the way in 51, closely followed by Alfa Romeo on 46, and then third is Red Bull on 40. So that's just a quick run of the stands, and great from them standings. As I said, it's going to be, looks like at the minute it's going to be a Sway, Mark and Joe probably going to fight it the whole way throughout the season because they're still pretty close and there's a big gap to 4th place.
It's pretty early as Captain Chubbs is out for this race. We should have mentioned a bit of housekeeping before this. You mentioned Timo, he is not racing tonight, and we have Merck and the aforementioned Captain Chubbs who are reserving tonight, but they are on no ABS and they are starting from the back. Is that correct?
Yes, and they will also be retiring last lap as well.
Ah, very good. So, look, it's still early. So, you mentioned those 3 drivers. There probably could still be one that could come to the fore as well. It's it is early, and I see someone like Yarm there in 16th. Or well, he hasn't said time, but we know he's got pace. He can mix it up with those guys. Oh,
Yeah,
it's Ripper Rick. Oh, sorry, Dan's just seen Ripper Rick has had a spinneroo out of the last corner. A difficult one to get on the keep it within the confines of the track, because if you go over that by a millimetre, those track limits, your lap is done. And to get straightened again before you get that throttle down, it's one of the challenges of this track.
Yeah, that to me personally, I think that's probably one of the trickiest corners on the track, to be honest, because as you said, like a wee bit out of the white lines on that curb is literally going to send you flying straight into the walls. So you have to be very careful when you're applying the throttle, especially coming out of that corner. But Graham, we're seeing here at the minute, everybody seems to be going for the hard tyres, so I don't think we're going to get many soft runners tonight, do you think?
Sensible. It doesn't look like it at this stage, because if you're doing softs, like you commit into it, so you may as well just do all soft runs now. But no one has ventured so far. Like, everyone's out on track at the moment, bar a few exceptions. So I'm expecting people to settle into the hards, and then obviously the mediums to finish off. Which there's always one or two, isn't there? So it doesn't surprise me that even in, I know this is Division 2, but you would have thought perhaps one person would make the plunge, but nothing of the sort so far.
Nothing of the sort is right, but I've been looking here at the fitted tyres, so it looks like Ali and Stevie G are going to be the first 2 to actually bolt on the mediums, but they're not coming out in track yet. And it also shows Bomber in 12th, who was your previous teammate in Division 3. He's got the sauce selected, so could he be the one that goes for it? That could be an interesting. That could spice up the grid quite a bit.
If you ever wanted to run for glory and pole position, I mean, this is it, isn't it? Just if you're doing it, make sure you actually do it. Because I think in Bahrain last week with Division 1, we had one or two people go for the there goes there's a 32.7 first round of 32s. Yaron pumping that time on the hards. There's a driver that tried to go on the softs and for pole position and didn't work out too well.
Yeah, who was that again? I can't even remember.
It was, I believe, TMC Wesker.
That's right, that is right, yes. I do remember that now. But I was just watching Mark Demand there. He's been very tentative on this first lap on the hards, which is to be expected because there's not much grip coming off them, but he hasn't really got much ERS left. Hopefully he's a lot of fuel left to do a couple of laps. But I 34.8 from Mark Naman. I expect him to do a lot quicker than that, considering the fact his teammate Adi is in third already with a 33.3.
I assume this is an in lap because he'd want to be saving ERS because obviously he's not gone. I wouldn't say he's on a flying lap because he's certainly not gone enough to do it, but he's also not saving for another lap either. So I assume he's just gonna call it a run after this. After the first run, it's risky, isn't it? Because you're committing to most people here. Look, they've got Stevie G's on the mediums here at the moment, very early on actually. You always see him on softs. Because most people are committing to that, you're doing run on hards, you're doing run on mediums. You're leaving yourself obviously. You're leaving out that potential third run that you would do on normal, in normal circumstances with the if you're running the softest compound tire. But you don't have that luxury here if you're going for the mediums, which means there's more pressure to get your banker, your first run, get something decent in, and it just leaves that door open if Marksman can't hook it up for his mediums, that he could be looking at a tough old run of things in the race if he doesn't get it right.
That's very true, but like I'm just looking here at Joe as well. Like Joe's already done 3 laps on a set of hards. Like the one of the disadvantages of it is the more laps you do on the hards, like if you don't nail your final lap on the mediums, you're going to be starting at 3 or 4 lap old hard tires, which might be it. They'll not last as long in the race, but they should hopefully be up to temperature in the race very quickly. So it all depends. It's like because the more laps you do in the hards, the less you're going to take them, which means you're not going to be able to take the mediums as long in the second stint. So it's hard to kind of balance the whole thing out. You need to make sure that you're going to nail your laps perfectly in order to, not start on badly worn tires.
Qualifying is always important, but I think at tracks where you're committing to just kind of 2 runs, that banker really is important because there's nothing. Look, there's enough pressure as it is to get the lap right in your final run, but you don't need the added pressure of if I don't get this done, I'm in real. I need to get something as Joe jumps up to second there on 4 lap old hards, 33 flat. It creates a bit more pressure, and it's just pressure you could be doing without to yourself. So it's just really important to get that first run right.
Yeah, it is definitely. I'm just trying to see, is there anybody on the mediums that have done their lap? I think Ali's starting his lap.
Stevie G got out of his quite early too.
I think it's Ali, the first runner on the actual medium tires. So I'll just check his first sector time to see how much he's up. But he's only up by 2/10 in the first sector compared to his time. So we'll see how he carries it on now through the rest of the lap.
And if he even finishes the lap as well, because again, this is early to be seeing mediums out on track. It would lead up, you would imagine, to a run on the softs, because look, you want to obviously save your medium tires for if you're starting on. You want to save them for the last after the track gets more rubbered in. It's at its peak at the end of the session. You don't want to be leaving yourself with a set of mediums at the end. So I'd imagine this is building up to a set of softs.
That could be very interesting now into the race. I haven't done much practice myself, but I'm pretty sure the softs are not a great tire.
Yeah,
so
I believe it's the same case as it was last year at the softest compound. But hey, you never know. You can never know what the race may hold, may end up working out. But he's coming into the last part of the track out of turn 14, and see, I'm going to go on board and see how he gets this last corner. Nice and clean. But it is a 32.3. We wanted a little bit more, I would say, out of that lap, possibly with Yarham there, just a few tenths, just under 4 tenths or so, and obviously on the hard compound tire.
Yeah, I think the way it's looking at the minute compared to the hard times to the mediums, it looks like Yarham's going to take pole by a couple of tenths here, probably. But you never know what depends. He is indeed. So is he sizing up a soft lap as well? Don't know. It's probably.
It's also too early though, like in the sense that because you need, if you're going for 2 runs, you might have to have a cool down lap as well. But even with 6 minutes, that seems like a lot. But we'll see.
Yeah, but would you really want to be doing 2 runs around here in the mediums, because the tire wear and the tire temps are very high around here?
Yeah, if you can avoid it. So that'll be interesting to see. He's kind of the only person on well, there's no one really on a flying lap at the moment. Everyone's either on an out lap or just waiting for the time to come back out. But I have to say Yarm is looking pretty good here at the moment. We'll see what happens with his tyres. I imagine he's sticking to these and maybe just leaving time in the bank, but He's certainly in the driving seat at the moment.
Yeah, he is indeed. I think Sagan is coming into the pits now. So he's going to be going off for. To be fair, Sagan in 6th place, that's actually not a bad score from him so far, isn't it?
He's shown last season he could qualify quite well. Even if he couldn't sustain the race pace, he can get himself up there. So
yeah,
it's not bad. He's only a couple hundredths off of Stevie G there in 5th, so it is quite close there. You look at Adibaba, they're all 33 threes. Himself, Stevie G, and Psychic. Oh, that's a big moment there for PFC Steve, and he is around. He was on a flying lap on a set of hards.
Well, here's going to be the moment now. Yarham coming up to the first sector. Let's see how much he's up on his time. 2/10 up on his time to the first sector. So we'll see now how Yarham gets on the mediums, as he's going to be probably. Well, he's not really going to be the first big boy, but we'll see how he gets on. But he is probably going to be the favourite for poles. So we'll see how he gets on.
His improvement in the first sector was almost identical to what Ali was doing on his mediums, like when in terms of on his previous lap. So it looks like that's just under kind of 3/10. You're trying to get out of that first sector in terms of improvement on the mediums, and he's over half a second this time now through the middle sector.
Now he's coming up to the tricky right-hander to wind himself up for the back straight. I don't like this corner one bit.
I don't either.
But
it's not bad to be fair.
Not bad to be fair. He's got a very good run. So if he nails this here, I think it's going to look to be a 32 flat probably.
I was just going to ask, you think he could creep into the 31s?
I don't know. I think 32 flat probably. I don't know if he creep into the 31s, but we'll see.
Well, his last corner is obviously key. See how he nails it. Oh, stay on board. Probably left a little bit there, but got himself through. It's going to be a 31-8.
31-8.
And good luck. That's all I have to say. I'm not sure if anyone is touching that, but meanwhile, Stevie G is coming into the last quarter himself. He's run out of ERS quite early and goes a bit wide. Will that be an invalidation? No, but it's a 32-2. So at the moment it's a racing point 1-2. At the moment, Ripper Rick, I believe, has got himself up into 4th, but he is at a time on mediums, whereas everyone else behind him is waiting in the wings to set their medium laps as we get close to the end of this session. 2 minutes 35. See if Sway's on a lap. We'll go with Sway. He's got a bit of traffic in front of him though, so that Red Bull of Adibaba will have to jump out of the way fairly quickly.
Which he does.
Look how much dirty air we've caught through the first few corners regardless. Again, it's that 2.8, 2.7, but he's botched turn 6, hasn't hit that apex, and I wonder if he'll think of just abandoning this lap, because I think he lost a lot of time through there.
This is a very tricky corner he's had here, especially on a wheel. It's just so hard for the car to actually hug the apex, but he seems to nail it alright. He is about a 10th down on Yarham through the first sector, so we'll see how he gets on now in sector 2. He's 4/10 up, so he's still nowhere near Yarham's time just yet.
He lost a good bit of time in that turn 6.
Yeah, but winding up now down to the big long back straight. He seems to get a decent run out of it, so hopefully, and he's had a car in front of him, which I don't know who that is, but I don't think he get much slipstream from them either. So
it's awesome, dude. A little bit far.
A little bit far for a bit of a tow, but we'll see now how he comes down here. He takes this in first gear in the second. Nice out traction coming out of the corner, so we'll see how he takes the last corner now. This will make or break his lap. He misses the apex a bit, which is going to cost a bit of time. I think he was a bit too tentative on it, but he does a 32.6.
36 is good enough for 4th, but that is always going to be good enough for, because he's not going to have enough ERS and enough time to do another flying laps. That's it for Sway. P4 is a maximum he's going to get. Ali's going back on these U7 mediums, which is a little surprising, but that's how he's gone about it.
It is very strange, but awesome dude, as I've seen from everybody, has the one that's gained the most time through the first sector. He's done a 24.4, which is still 2/10 off Sway, but he gained by nearly 4/10 of a second on his time as Yarham retires, so he's confident enough. But it looks like at the minute it's a racing point 1-2 on Sway. Don't know if he was going for another lap or just getting out of the way, but he went completely wide through the long left-hander.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't have had enough ERS. Like that was his lap.
Awesome dude, 7/10 up on his time. Austin Dude High could be challenging the
Could
likes of
get,
Sway and
yeah,
maybe Ali.
could
Could
get into
be.
the top three. We'll see
Look,
at the end of the lap unfolds, but it's looking good so far.
yeah, I'll also keep an eye on Corby as well because
He's
he's
just
probably going to
started,
be
I
the one to
believe.
challenge.
I look at Adi Baba as well. Obviously, Mark the Man we know is. So there could be a few wrinkles as Psychos up to fourth place. So dislodges
Good,
Sway.
that's a good qualifying for Saget. Also
Checker,
doing now second gear.
checker flag is
Traction.
out.
Last corner, he misses the apex again, runs wide, it's going to cost him. It should be a 32-5, and he puts Sway now down to 6th. Joe did a bit of
There's a Ferrari
beat him on,
close
get out of the
there.
way. But I was watching Joe's first sector game, he was 24.2, which was identical to Yarham. So Joe at the minute looking like he could be the one to challenge. He's currently 5 tenths up, so he needs to find at least another 7 tenths through the last sector.
Adi Baba was just watching, goes up to second, splits the racing points. 32 flat for him is a good time from him. His teammate is coming up to the final corner. He's probably the only other person, as well as Joe, who's got a chance of even disrupting Yarm. Let's see though. It's not going to be Mark Demand. It's 32-9 for Mark Demand. He'd be disappointed at that. Joe coming up right behind. Good last corner. Oh, has he just strayed a little too far? We'll see.
Is it Paul? Oh, it's not. It's second place, but he's the second man into the 31s. It's close.
A good effort from Joe. I believe that's going to be it. PFC Steve. Ali's on lap as well, I believe. Steve, can he crack into the top 10? He should. No, he misses out. 33 flat for him. And where is Ali? Ali's diving into the pits, and I believe, Dan, that is going to wrap up qualifying. We were looking at a racing point 1-2, but now they've been very much split. But Yarm is on top here.
He is indeed, and we thought the gap in qualifying was going to be a lot bigger than what it was. Joe's only just over a tenth behind, so hopefully this is going to mean, and Adi's not too, Adi Baba's not too far behind either, so hopefully it means it's going to be a lot closer in the race. Like, look at that. Sway, not even Sway, what am I on with Sway? Yarham takes pole, and like the gap between him and 10th is only a second, so it's still relatively close enough. Like,
yeah, Yarm taking pole ahead of Joe in second. Ali Baba, good effort in third. CVG rather in fourth. Ali in fifth, despite his early efforts. Psyche, sixth place. Awesome Dude seventh. Sway eighth. Ripper Rick ninth, and Unsafe Release rounds out the top 10. To be honest, Mark Man's been done a favour there, I think, by being knocked out of the top 10.
yeah, he'd definitely be one of the ones to watch out for now in the race, because I'm assuming he will go for the hard tires, so he'll go for the different strategy compared to the guys in the top 10. So
it's one of those, see, because it's not a huge run down to turn one. You know, this might be one of the tracks where you could get away with going on the harder tire and not have to worry too much about the launch, like on, as you would say, on a longer straight like Spain, for example. But it's just keeping, if you are choosing hard and you're going to be in the pack, it's just, can you keep it, you know, through that middle sector, especially when it twists and turns, especially through the opening laps on those hards.
yeah, it's a very tricky one though as well, like in terms of setup, because you don't know whether to run a big low downforce setup to be very quick in the straights, or have a high downforce one where you're going to be slower in the straights but be good through the corners, as you said. Maybe towards the race you'd want a higher downforce, because like the understeer you're going to get on a full tank of fuel is going to be a lot worse than you're going to get on a qualifying set, like, you know.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to judge, but we'll see how they navigate it. Cloudy conditions, I believe it's going to be a dry race, so we should get the tyre information up as they get off on their formation lap. So yes, Mark Demand, as you alluded to, hard tyres from 11th, which can be risky, but I think he has more to gain by going hards than he has to lose on the hards, and then obviously I think he's more to gain on hards period than he has on mediums from that position.
But
So
like if you look at it as well, there's only two that went for the hard tires, him and Bummer. That's a surprise.
that is surprising.
I thought a lot more would have went for the hard tires, but we'll see. See how this works.
Yeah, that is a little surprising, I have to say, because you would expect a few more outside the top 10 would make the gamble, but there you go. So if you had to pick anyone to win this race, I mean, Yarm looks pretty good.
Johan does look very good, but I think to win the race I'd probably say TMC Cowboy, because I just think he's more consistent throughout the race than Yarham. So I would say his consistency will play in the key. I think my honest opinion is I don't think Yarham will even get a podium. I think Yarham might finish fourth.
Wow. See, I think bearing in mind as well that I think this is a track where you don't see a ton of penalties.
Hmm.
There's really one corner where you can kind of do it, and that's really the last corner. Whether you're on
Yeah,
entry or exit, that's the only real place you're going to do it.
yeah. It's the consistency though. I just think I just think me personally, I think Joe is more consistent than Johan. Could be different. Johan might have improved on his consistency. We'll never know. But we will actually we'll find out this race actually. But I would say Mark Demand as well. Watch out for him. I think he'd be in contention for a podium throughout the end of the race anyway.
Yeah, I think you can definitely get a podium if things break well. Um, See how he handles this first stint. We saw in Australia, kind of Yarm was on a outside the top 10, but he made his way through beautifully in the first stint. Now he was on softs, but if he can hold that place and even look to try and gain one or two, doesn't have to gain much in this opening stint, but you just don't want to be stuck too far behind someone, because this can be a tougher track to overtake on, even with that socking long straight. But I think a podium is definitely possible, but obviously this first stint is
Yeah.
these first few laps are key. But Dan, you can take her away for the start of this one.
Oh Jesus, you're so nice.
I know.
But yeah, let's as we get Captain Chubbs now into position, and hopefully we get this on the way. Hopefully it's a clean start because that's what I want. But we'll see now as we wait for the lights. We have got 2, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5. And it's third race of the season in China. It is going to be underway, and it looks like, to be fair, Yarham's actually got a fantastic start. Doesn't look like he's any wheel spin whatsoever. Joe's coming under attack by Alibaba with Stevie G in behind, but Alibaba's now around the outside of Joe. Is he going to make the move? Don't think you think Joe's going to have. Well, depending. Nah, I think Joe's going to have it covered. Yes, he is. But Stevie G's still there, so the top 4 and the top 5, I must say, actually got fantastic starts. Ali drops down to 6th, so not a great start for him. And Captain Chubbs had a decent start, so did Merck. And Austin Dude looked like he had the worst start out of everybody because he's down now in last place.
Bit of a spin as Adibaba goes for the dive on Stevie G, try and take back that P3. A bit of contact, the back end kicking out there for Stevie G, and Adibaba takes that place back. So good attacking early on. I think Austin had a little, might have been contact because I saw him trying to get his car in the right direction, as Merck making his way up to the field already in P13 on those brakes.
Yeah, Bino Manning is dropping down positions. He's got front wing damage in the front right of his killer, as was the Williams and runs wide. I think it was PFC Steve, or yeah, it was PFC Steve. But yeah, Mark the Man dropped 1 position, so he hasn't lost too much at the start. Don't think he's any wing damage. He actually does have wing damage, Mark the Man, so this is not going to play into his hands at all. He's going to have to come in and change that front wing.
Just looking at Stevie G lining up, Adibaba got a really good run out of that snail section, and he's going to go down the inside. Is he? Alibaba is about half a car ahead. Doesn't really commit fully to the dive, but he's going to be running side by side, and Alibaba gets the exit there. So, in fact, CVG's actually used his max. I don't see that too often. The max deployment of his ERS in that opening lap. Oh, it's contact between Sway and Big Shaq.
Oh, that was close. I was just looking
And
at
it being
that.
swamped from behind. There goes unsafe release. There goes Ripper Rick. Stevie G marked around there close behind this as well. But that had the potential to be absolutely disastrous, as a slight contact from Sway on the back of Ripper Rick. PFC Steve is there, but he can't hold it, as
Oh,
Markman is into the pits.
that was some scary stuff there, I must say. I thought Sway and I thought that was it. Big Shaq and Sway were out of the race, but I
Yeah.
think Sway would have been cursing a wee bit there. But
Oh,
he's
big
thankful.
contact between Steve and Ripper Rick. I think PFC Steve went a little bit too deep and just got it all wrong and made contact. I'm not sure if he has wing damage, but certainly lost a place that you can see Merck is through. But I thought that was going to be just a couple of close shaves early on.
Yeah, but as we're saying here now, Joe is just sticking right to the back of Arham, and Alibaba is dropping out of the DRS. That is not what he wants, because in this game DRS is key. Like staying in the slipstream is vital, because if you get out of it, it's very hard to get back into it. So Alibaba looks like he's going to form a big train here very shortly. But yeah, Joe and Johan just look like they've just pushed away from the rest of the field, and Joe at the minute looks the quicker of the two of them. I know it's only been a lap and a half, but at the minute he looks the fastest of the two drivers.
Ripper Rick trying to break the toe on Sway, but leaves a space on the outside. You see Merck there waiting in the wings as well, but heading on to lap 3, Yarms has the fastest lap, and DRS is now enabled. And like Joe actually gets the fastest lap on his Sway going very, very wide. And it's going to be coming under attack from Merck. And it should be a fairly straightforward move. So Eric for Sway coming out of that second turn, and Big Shaq is out of this race. Had a couple of scrapes with the two McLarens. He had some contact with Captain Chubbs there as well, but he's now out of this race.
I want to see where I think Big Shaq binned it out of the last corner. I don't actually know. No, he didn't. He retired further on up the track, so he must have had wing damage. As you can just see him there at the end of the pit street, so he must have had a bit of wing damage and was like, no point in continuing on. So
I can't
that's
imagine
unfortunate for Big Shaq. I know it's unfortunate for Big Shaq, but Joe, he's lagging a wee bit, but he's still doing what he needs to do to stay within the DRS of Yorham. So I think these two will pretty much stay the same gap throughout most of the race. It'll be down to probably penalties, because we know what Joe's like. Joe sits behind someone and doesn't actually make a move.
So that's the tough part for you, Adi Baba, is that these guys will have, obviously Joe will have DRS, which you'll get to use for the first time heading down the straight to pull them along, but Adi Baba doesn't have that luxury in third. You can see Yarm, a couple of moves there trying to break that toe, but not under any immediate threat from Joe in this particular lap. But heading behind them, Stevie G not close enough on Adi Baba himself, and Ali not close enough on I've lost my place. Sidegate, that's the word I'm looking for.
To be fair, the Sidegate though, he's doing very, very well.
He's doing very well.
P5, this could be one of the best performances he's done since he's joined.
Sorry, Dan, the arm's got a little deep into one, and Joe's going to be side by side as they head out of 2 and through 3, but Yarm should be able to hold that. But will Joe go for the lunge heading down towards turn 6? Yarm leads in the room, somewhat surprising. He's going to go down the inside, that pumpkin attacking that racing point. Side by side. Oh, did he lose the back end? Not sure if there was contact, but he held it, and he's still there, but we've lost a little bit of time to Adi Baba behind. But early pressure there for Yarm to hold off as Sway and Merck side by side, and Merck swoops around the outside, of course having the benefit of those fresher medium tyres, of course having started the race on a fresh set near the back of the grid.
Yeah, I was just watching that gap as well between Adi Baba and Joe. Like, the gap was 1.9 seconds, and because Joe and Yarham had that wee bit of a fight, it allowed Adi Baba to pull nearly 6/10 of a second, and I was through one sector. So that just shows you how much fighting in this game loses you a lot of time.
The worst thing they could do as Joe creeps closer, but he's in zero deployment, so he could have gone for this move if he wanted to. The worst thing they could do is bring Adi Baba and Stevie G into play by giving them the DRS. That would be the worst thing they could do. They just need to just drive away Speedoman out of this race, and we just got a 5-second penalty there for that as well. So he is out. Will that bring it to safety car? I wonder. Doesn't look like it for the time being, but lap 5, Dan, things are still looking kind of as they were.
Yeah, still looking as they were. The top 6 are still relatively close, and then you've on Safe Release who's just nearly 3.5 seconds behind Ali, so he's basically forming his own train the whole way down to 13th. So after 5 laps it's still pretty close, but hopefully now whenever we start to see pit stops and all, it starts to bring the people a bit closer, and hopefully we'll see a lot more action. At the minute it's just going to be people just DRSing each other and following each other or slipstream. I don't really think we'll see many people making a move, but we'll see. The later the race goes, people are going to be desperately looking an extra position or two, so you'll see a lot more moves towards the end of the race probably.
To be fair, like, it is only 11 seconds from 1st to 10th, so it is pretty close. It's a shame that Mark the Man kind of had that. See, I think we talk about the danger of starting on the harder compound. You could get swallowed up or caught in something, and that is the case. So it's been one to forget for Mark the Man so far. But long race, yes. But let's see if Joe decides to attack Yarm this time out. He was in overtake, but I think he's just going to be a little bit too far back this time. But that gap down 1.1 between himself and Adi Baba, it's getting closer and closer.
Yeah, it is indeed, and Yarham's looking like he's struggling a bit, which is holding Joe up, which is allowing Adi to literally close the gap. But Stevie G looks like he's falling back a wee bit from Adi Baba now, so I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully they don't get spread out, because I want to see a close battle for the lead of the race, so hopefully they start to actually close the gap to each other and to the front two, and see a bit more battling. But See how it goes on.
There's a nice scrap here between his Ripperick, Unsafe Release, and then there's Merc, Sway, PFC Steve, Awesome Dude, Chubbs. They're quite close as Ripperick and Unsafe Release side by side. Ripperick trying to take P7 from Unsafe Release, and the more they squabble, the more they bring Merc and company, and there's a lot of company, into the equation. Some aggressive defending there from Unsafe Release. He's gone too deep. He has a bit of a corner cut there, but Ripperick can't make up the ground, and Unsafe Release holds on to P7 for the time being. They are exerting a lot of ERS, those two, and the guys behind not as much.
The guys behind aren't losing as much ERS, but I think out of the guys behind, Sway has the most, and then it's after that it's Merc, but the rest of the guys are all under 40%, so they are burning it quite early, which I don't really think you need to do. I think it's more save it for the longer part, especially if you're following a car and the slipstream and the tow. Just literally save your ERS. That's the most important thing you can do. But Ripper Rick now, he's getting a bit of understeer behind Unsafe Release, but he might still get a good run and a massive tow down this straight.
Has a benefit of DRS as he opens it now and nips to the left hand side, and this should be an overtake. Let's see if he can hold it. Unsafe Release, will he go? Oh, he's been in contact, and Merc, will he try and pick up the pieces? They're going to get by Unsafe Release, and Merc will just file in behind, and wow, he completely blitzes the corner in the process. But Merc all of a sudden could be looking up to P7 here as he darts to the right hand side, and he is through on Ripper Rick. So it was a bit of clumsy between Unsafe Release and Ripper Rick through that hairpin, I have to be honest.
Yeah, would you say Sway and Merc's getting held up here in this whole big squabble?
They could do it getting by as soon as possible for sure.
Yeah, if Sway wants to hang on to the back of Merc, he needs to make it now.
Ooh, you know what? I thought the move was there for Sway to make down the big moment there for Ripper Rick. Had back end completely stepped away from him, and Sway was lucky he caught himself, had to get off to avoid running into the back one, but he's got Unsafe Release quite close behind them.
Yeah, like, look at it now since Merc's pulled out the gap. Like, Merc's pulled out 1.2 seconds, and that's just from passing Ripper Rick down the straight. So that's just showing you how much time Sway is actually losing to Merc.
Yeah, he's got to get this done quickly, and he should now down the straight. It was before the chaos starts. Joe's kind of still sticking around that DRS range, but Alibaba's dropped off a bit, and CVG is obviously with him, so I think it is just kind of Joe and Yarm kind of just asserting themselves at the front. But here goes Sway to the left hand side. There's a big train behind us. You see Unsafe Release, you see the Toro Rosso and McLaren of Chubbs and Austin. Again, they're going side by side. Can Chubbs get the move completed this time? Austin on the outside, and Chubbs comes across, and he gets that move done. So there's him up to P12. No points for this, but it is good fun. There's quite a lot of cars about this part of the track.
From P8 the whole way down to 13th.
There is points up for grabs here. Like there is some points up here. So if you can get through, be interested to see the strategy thinking amongst this group and kind of what they decide to do. Because look, I'm sure someone can undercut if they want to. But what do you risk in the process? When do you do it? And how much do you want to leave yourself for later in terms of tyres? But it is looking quite juicy.
Yeah, I don't know if the undercut round here though would work, because I think the hards take a couple of laps to actually get up the temperature. So I think you probably want to do more of an overcut round here.
See, I think your advantage will come back to you near the end of the stint. So if you can if you can hang on, your fresher tyres will definitely help come the end of this race. But I mean, if there's some points up for grabs, I mean, you know, maybe that's just a risk some people are willing to take.
Yeah, but Joe is still staying within 6/10. Alibaba, I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know whether he made a big mistake or something, but he dropped well over a second and a half behind now. So he's now nearly 3 seconds behind now, which is not what we were seeing there a couple of laps ago anyway. But with PFC Steve unsafe for this. Oh, it's been absolutely swamped down the straight. That's just having no straight line speed.
He's lost both positions there, hasn't he?
He has indeed. He's also new behind him as well. The last thing you want to be is at the back of this big long train. And we'll see now here, Chubbs. He's not too far behind PFC Steve. PFC Steve doesn't have DRS, so maybe that's what the problem was for Unsafe Release. He didn't have the DRS and just got completely swamped.
Possibly, but they're kind of... So you can kind of see who's been holding who up. I'm surprised Ripper Rick is still holding on to P9 here, because it looked like he was the one that was kind of bottlenecking these guys, but he's still 1.2 ahead of C. Now that PFC Steve has passed, we'll see, but he goes defensive as Chubbs tries a switch back. He's going to get a decent run, to be fair. PFC Steve covers off the inside, having to force Chubbs around a long way, and it's difficult to make a move around here, but let's see if Chubbs is up to the task.
He nearly did make it.
Oh, excellent bit of contact, just very marginal, and Unsafe Release going to stick his car on the inside. This is daring stuff, but he isn't able to quite keep it. So from attacking to defending, there's quite a lot going on down here.
It is indeed. It was a brave thing to put your car down the inside, especially for Unsafe Release. That could have ended in tears, but he has run a bit wide and also just straight up the inside. So it's not these two are going to be side by side the whole way down the straight. I think Unsafe Release should get the benefit. Actually, he doesn't. Actually, looks like he has no straight line speed.
Yarn Pitts from the lead, so he's in early.
He is indeed, but I'm just looking at Unsafe Release. He doesn't have any straight line speed. He's getting completely swamped down them straights.
Later on the break, so you can kind of see what the thought process in terms of setup then for Unsafe Release. But look at Chubbs and Steve, and he pulls up the right hand side. Will they encounter Yarm here as well? Yarm's going to come out behind this group.
He is.
So he's going to have to hope that Racing Point that he doesn't. A bit of a drift coming out of the pits as getting those tyres up to temperature. Chubbs and Steve still a bit of wheel banging, still side by side. But this is the last thing Yarham needs, is to emerge behind this. There's a lot of squabbling cars here, Dan.
It is indeed, and you see Yarham's weaving to try and warm his tyres up as well. But this is the last thing he needs. Like, look, he's caught up to the back of Unsafe Release, and I believe he's lost nearly 4 tenths than what he did coming out of the pits. So it's just showing you how much time he's actually losing.
If you were sorry Dan, it's Mark Wentz out, as you said. If you're Joe, do you stay out? Do you respond? Surely the best course of action would be to stay out for another lap or two, because there's a lot of cars here. There's a lot of cars.
Unsafe Release is out of the way, so that makes things a bit easier. But like, I can tell you now, PFC Steve and Austin Dude are not going to get out of the way.
No.
And the gap when he came out of the pits was 21.7 seconds. It's now 22.2 roughly. So he's lost half a second this lap alone. So Joe actually could benefit from this.
It might take the two of them, these two Toro Rosses here, to be fair. If you've got the straight line speed, they all have DRS. So that's preventing them. So
needs to be careful.
Adi Baba and Steve into the pits. He's gone malicious. He dares on the brakes, but he's got the move done. Fair play. There's a lot to risk there, but he got it done. But he's still behind traffic. Chubbs then is his traffic as Ripper Rick peels into the pits. So Joe carries on. I think that was the right decision.
I think it was the right decision as well. But Yarham, now that he's passed him, has gained a couple of tenths. So it's going to be nip and tuck between him and Joe when Joe comes out of the pits. But he will have a lap or two fresher tyres towards the end of the race.
Could be key. Could be key. Where have Adi Baba, Stevie G and Murph? They've just emerged behind Bomber, and they're just trying to get past him as well. Adi Baba does. Stevie G, it should be a corner or two before he does it, but Yarn goes down the inside into turn 6. Has he gone too deep? Has he got the tyres to fight back? Captain Chubbs on the right hand side. He's not going to have the racing line, and through goes Yarm. So he now dispatches all of that traffic, and now would be the perfect time in front to pit now that he's past that traffic. But he did well, to be fair, Yarm, because it's not as straightforward as it can be to overtake. There's a lot of cars in front of him as well. There's a lot to risk by overtaking these cars who are close to pitting.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot to risk, but Adi Baba and Stevie G both came out set of hard tyres, 11th and 12th, so they're not too far behind. They're quite a wee bit behind Yarham, but they're not too far apart between the two of them, so there could be a battle coming up there very shortly. Bomber's absolutely nowhere in them hard tyres, so that just hasn't worked for him whatsoever. Ripper Rick, he's just come out in a fresh set of hards as well. He's down in last place. So it's going to be interesting now to see when Joe pits. Joe still continues. Ali pits. And Sidegate pits as well, and Merck continues as well, and that looked like a corner cut, I must say, but I think he got away with it. So it's interesting because there's some Yarham I do think pitted very early. I think lap 9 was early, or lap 10 was early. I think he could probably get these to about 13 laps, but you never know. We'll see how he gets on.
Well, Joe was definitely helped by obviously Yaron coming out into that big traffic, but now he's going to be gaining time now that he's free of that, and the gap you can see the leader, it's down to 20 seconds, almost 19 seconds at this stage. You have flag in sector 1, is there? Just a false flag, is there?
Yeah,
Looks
but
like
like that's what we're saying. Like the gap whenever Thing came out of the pits, Johan came out of the pits was 21.7. He's now 1.8 seconds faster. So they were covered by 8 tenths when Johan pitted. He's now going to be at least 2.6 seconds in front, maybe even 3 seconds. So it's going to be hard for Joe to catch that back.
So
Because following in the DRS is pretty much key in this game anyway.
So at this stage he's going to have to just go that much longer and hope that the significant tyre advantage he would have at the end of the race can come back and save him. But yeah, I think he is going to be behind. Actually, he's going to be out of DRS when he obviously comes into the pits, and he should be fine in terms of he should fall any lower than a net P2. Alibaba and company are still convincingly behind that group, but it's going to be interesting. He does indeed pit this lap. So head on to lap 13, gets himself slowed down in time.
Yeah, I think I think the gap between the two of them here is going to be at least 3 seconds. It has to be.
And Merck is in as well, just about. You see a big lock up there, trying to emulate us here, Lewis Hamilton. Almost. There's no gravel trap there anymore though. Swayed in as well, and unsafely I imagine will be joining them as well. But here is Joe. There goes Yaram. He is well and truly clear, and he's, if anything, he's closer to Adi Baba than he is Yaram.
He is, like I said, the gap with 3 seconds. Like look at it now, it's 4 seconds. That's how much he's lost, and that's going to be tough to catch back up. I think he did. Like I said, you need a couple of laps for the hards to actually kick in. I think not the first lap, the second lap was when Joe should have pitted, but he waited 3 or 4 laps extra, which could cost him.
Yeah, I think maybe I think to stay out the first lap, I think was fine, obviously with the traffic and such. But I think should have come in that second lap, and that's a lot to make up. That's a lot of time to make up, and I don't think he's as quick as Yaram to make all that time up, even with the tyres. But we'll see. He's got a little bit of ERS to play with, but yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I don't think Alibaba's going to be much of a. Don't think Alibaba's going to trouble Joe as much. He might trouble him in the first couple of laps so Joe's tyres get up to temperature, but he's not going to be close enough even for DRS. So I think Joe's fine for second at the minute. It's just about how much time he can close on Yarham and hope that Yarham gets a penalty.
And even then, he's going to have to make up some time.
Yeah, he's in a bit of a pickle here, I must say.
At the moment, the kind of only real main battle on track here is looking at 11th place Captain Chubbs trying to fight Rip Rick, and there's a 35-4 for Yarn. Let's see what Joe can do when his tyres get up to temperature. Let's see what we're working with.
We'll see who's truly the quicker between the two of them around here.
It's kind of, yeah, this race is kind of, as it usually happens after the pit stops, kind of just slows down a little bit. It's kind of, everyone's kind of spread out. It's not a ton that's going on at the moment.
Not a ton.
As,
I'm just watching. I'm watching side.
Jobs has gone down the inside of Ripper Rick. Sorry, before we have 13 laps of nothing going on, there's a battle as Ripper Rick and Chubbs. Oh, bit of contact. I think his wing's okay, but getting scrappy these two. Ripper Rick trying to weave a little bit in front. I won't be impressing Chubbs too much. He could have gone for the lunge there, to be fair, but thinks better of it. And yeah, there's a. Chubbs has been in the wars a bit today, hasn't he? He's been in a lot of scraps with.
He has.
Not even his own fault, but just kind of, yeah, where he's ended up and the drivers he's been battling. It's been ended up in contact one way or another.
Yeah, I've just been floating through some drivers just to see their gears through different corners, and it's quite interesting to see some of the gears that some of the drivers do go through different corners.
Do many go negative first in that that turn 14 hairpin?
Yes. Some of them do. There's also a few drivers that are going even first gear past the long right-hander. You know the long right-hander, turn 1 on to turn 2. They're going first gear there as well.
Interesting.
So it's quite interesting. You know, because there's nothing else really happening, so, you know, it's quite fun to see what people are doing, but Saiki is just going to pass Bomber here pretty easy because Bomber's on 14 lap old hards. So We'll see now, because I think Merck might be able to close up on Sidegate here now, and Sway is still quite a long way back behind Merck as well.
Yeah, and that gap is looking pretty consistent at the front, 4.2. Though Stevie G has crept within DRS of Adibaba, that might be something to watch. But for now, the only battle on track is for the final point. Actually, is it? Well, this will be a net P9 once Bomber pits, but fiercely contested nevertheless between Rick and Chosen. A better run and then towards turn 6. Rick goes defensive. Can I get a switch back? Not really looking to challenge this time round. So no way through for Chubbs at the moment. And Awesome Dude is, I'm sure with each passing lap that Chubbs is stuck behind here, I'm sure Awesome Dude will be trying to reel him in, although at the moment actually that would be for a point if if Awesome Dude can try and close up and get in this battle, because Awesome Dude I think is in a net P11 at the moment, so anything that happens up here will certainly be beneficial to Awesome Dude down in 12th.
Yeah, definitely will. But Adibaba's pulled out a wee bit of a gap now to Stevie G's. The gap's now 1.3 seconds, so Stevie G must have made a mistake at lap, whereas Adibaba was just like, I'll I'll put a bit more deployment on and pull out a wee bit of a gap. So Joe looks like he's losing time to Yarham, so I think Joe, he could have had the win in the bag, but I think staying at them couple of laps has cost him, so I think now the front two is probably going to stay as it is.
More than likely, Chubbs is through on Ripper Rick, heading down towards the hairpin's got enough margin, even with the DRS on Ripper Rick, to hold it. And now he can try and set off after his teammate, but his teammate's 4.5 seconds up the road. Looks like it could be a quiet second part of this race for Sway, as it is Ali, to be fair. Ali's just kind of it's been a quiet one for Ali. He's been that kind of tier 3, kind of had Joe and Yaram kind of comfortably kind of the pace setters, then Adibaba, Stevie G, then Yaram's just kind of in his own little kind of world here, where he's not quick enough today to challenge for the podium, but he's also quicker than everyone else behind him essentially. He's just kind of settled into that little as you know, there are always one or two people who always settle into that little gap where they're in like a 4th, 5th, 6th, but there's no one really around them.
Yeah, like coming out of practice, from what I was hearing from some of the guys, is that Ali was looking very quick, and he was looking like one of the favourites to challenge, but he's down to 5th, so that just gives you an indication of whatever pace you do in practice, don't take it for granted, because in the race it could be completely different.
That's it. That's it at the end of the day. But he's look, 5th place would be a good result for him. Don't get me wrong. Just sometimes that's just how it is. But speaking of 5th place and just a little bit below that, see Merck is really close up this last few laps. Not so much on Bomber, who will get by here with ease, but his teammate for today, Cygate, he is closing in a little bit more substantially. I think Cygate may have made a mistake somewhere, because Merck was at least 3 or so seconds behind Cygate, but that has been, and he was 4 or 5 seconds before the pit stops, but this has come down quite quickly, so I just wonder if Cygate may have made an error somewhere. But
yeah, like Sway as well. Sway can't even close up to Merck, so Sway's just an absolute no man's land here at the minute.
He's got his teammate 4.5 seconds behind, but looks like our next scrap will be between the two Mercedes. We'll see how long it lasts, but yeah, not a ton else. I mean, yeah, Stevie G's he's just on that edge, isn't he, between having the DRS and then maybe a sloppy apex and then not in it anymore. I think he may have it heading down towards. Was he in the activation zone? He was, even though he just fell out of a second there. He's now back into the activation zone.
Well, he's also
to play with.
That's what I was about to say. He's playing third with the ZRS. Like Alibaba's got a lot left.
It's very comfortable.
Joe's pulled out a 10th on Yarham, but he needs to pull a 10th. He needs to pull more than just a 10th out to get anywhere near. Well, he's just as said, he's lost 2 tenths as well. So, just think Yarham's pretty comfortable now. Like Joe, they're roughly around the same ERS as well, so they can't really do anything.
Yeah, it's one of those where you'd probably just say, do you know what, as a Bomber pits, just stick it into, just take it easy, just bring the car home, basically. You've got P2, and just bring it home, essentially. Look, there's 11 laps, including the one they're on, to go. But I mean, is it likely a safety car comes out? Probably not.
Probably not.
It
No on this
could,
game
but
anyway.
I mean, it could, but yeah, no one, yeah, more than likely. Like we've seen, well, at least 2 cars retire on track that we know of, at least, and nothing really doing. But actually, Awesome Dude's actually close up to the back of Ripper Rick, who's already dropped 3 seconds behind Chubb. So I'm not sure if he's got a wing damage or is he just really struggling. The car is looking very, very wobbly. But we'll have a little battle here for P10.
Yeah, we've also got Merck closing up to his teammate for the side gate as well, so these two are probably going to have that. Well, it's not really going to make much of a difference because in the fact Merck's retiring at the end of the race anyway, so.
Yeah.
Stevie G's still within the DRS, but he's just not closing. I just think half these lads have went for a high downforce setup, which is giving them absolutely no straight line speed to make a move.
Yeah, it would seem like it. As Merck is actually getting close, but not close enough to his teammate, and gets a 5-second penalty for running over that curb. And it's that's been coming.
Yeah,
that's definitely been coming. As Awesome Dude will go for the move down the inside on Ripper Rick. He does. Ripper Rick will get for the switch back. Can Awesome Dude hold it? His tires are 2 laps fresher, and they should be able to temperature at this stage. And he is through. Can he hold it though? A decent run for Ripper Rick will get him back into P10 here, but I don't think. Well, he might do. Can he hang around the outside is the question. Let's see. And he files in there, and Awesome Dude holds on to it. And that is him up into P10 as Psychic goes defensive, and that is another penalty. I mean, Merck, like, he finds a way, right? Like, how many penalties are those the only corner cutting penalties we've seen today?
we've seen 1 5-second from Beano Man, but that was it.
That was just before he retired, yeah.
Like, the thing is that every track on this, like, there's tracks in this game where it's easy for penalties and not. Tracks that are not easy for penalties, Merck always seems to find a way to cut a corner.
Like, this is not a track I would say that is, we're not seeing a ton of these pop up, so it's for good reason. You'd imagine that is there's a correlation between that and this track. Generally speaking, doesn't really give a lot of penalties.
Maybe the last corner, if you run wide or cut the inside, that can be the only corner you can cut. The rest of it's run, but just pretty much plain sailing, like.
And even in the race, we really haven't seen it like at this. Like, we haven't seen it. It's easy to do, but we just haven't seen the penalties pop up yet. But yeah, there you go. He's still behind his teammate for now, but what's he got? 8 seconds of penalty so far. That's impressive.
That is impressive. Wonder what 8 seconds would do for him. They were dropping nearly out of the top 10 anyway.
He's trying to hold around his teammates coming out of turn 1. He'll have the inside for 2 if it isn't covered off. Psyche comes across, just bordering on the edge there.
Oh, that was like a Vettel and Alonso.
Yeah, it was close. And again, Cygate is going to hold this inside line. Or tries to do a switch. Snatches a break. Can't get the traction quite out as well as, or enough rather, to get alongside Cygate, but yeah, look, this is maybe he doesn't know that that he's not going to take his points, but this is some stern defending from Cygate regardless.
It's been a good wee scrap so far. Been good to see. It doesn't matter if Merck's a Division 1 driver. Cygate's going to be like, you may be retiring at the end of the race, but I still want to show you that I can keep you behind. And it's allowing Sway to actually close up a wee bit as well, so Sway's going to be like, please keep fighting him a lot more.
Yeah, 2.5 seconds now. It's been a consistent 3. Let's see. This might be a bit tougher to hold this time.
Yeah, this should be the move now for Merck. Look at this. Yeah.
Psyche doesn't fight it. And that is P6 for Merck. Oh, snatches the break, misses the apex a little bit, but not enough to the point where Psyche can get back through. Not this time at least. And a little bit of a moment there. That wasn't the cleanest of entries into that final corner. See if he gets enough of a run. Straight line speed just looks like it's lacking. Even with that, I know he's popped it down to the 0 deployment near the end of that straight, but just looked like he was lacking a little bit of burst in a straight line to try and take that position back. But look, if you hold it within DRS, there's every chance he could take that place back on track.
Yeah, as long as he just stays within the DRS, he should hopefully be alright. Maybe have a chance to take it back. But sure, Sway's now 2 seconds behind Sidegate as well, so he's starting to get himself a wee bit into play now.
If you ever want to see a battle for P13 that has just ended very poorly as Bombers hit the back of PFC Steve
Oh,
um,
Jesus.
and damaged his wing, there you go. You could have a look at that if you want on the stream. um, Bomber on mediums, a complete hash of that move on PFC Steve, and yeah, Steve. I was going to say he was getting closer to some points, but with obviously chosen Merck to still retire from this race, but won't be getting any now.
No, definitely not. That's so. Who actually is going to get a point then? It'll be unsafe release and Ripper Rick.
And Ripper Rick at this stage.
Ah, that's not too bad. They'll be happy enough for that, I think. Bomber and PFC Steve are still going, even though Bomber's got substantial wing damage, but
He does.
Sidegate's still high. He's still putting Merc under pressure.
I saw yellow flag in sector 3, and I know what that is now because Joe's had a moment because he's now 8 seconds behind Yarm now. So I guess he had a half spin or something, but I saw yellow flag flash. I tried to see if there was anything, but yeah, it was definitely Joe because now Alibaba's only 2.4 seconds behind, and they're a long way behind Yarm.
Yeah, might have been coming out of the last corner. He might have lost the back end of it and probably did a half spin. He's lucky Alibaba wasn't a lot closer because that could have ended badly. He could have been knocked maybe even out of the podium positions because Stevie G would have followed through as well.
Yeah, it's close still.
Yeah, it is, and I think Joe now will just be, he'll settle himself down and he'll just be like, you know what, no more mistakes, just keep it to the end.
And he's got the tyres to kind of just do that as well, and he's got the gap. He doesn't have to worry too much about anything within DRS or anything like that. Could just settle in really.
Yeah, I'm just watching Sidegate here to see if he's still going to keep this gap to Merc. But he is. Is he in the detection zone?
I think he's just out of. I think he was just out of it when he hit that detection zone. You see the line beforehand.
Yeah, he's just out of it. That's going to be hard. Well, he's back in it now, so we'll see. He needs to stay in it throughout the whole lap. It's not just good doing it throughout one section of it.
The sway is a little closer still. It's 2.3, so he's getting a little closer, but I wouldn't say he's threatening to do anything at the moment. But he's back within DRS this time. His Psyche heading down this main straight, so yeah, it's see when you're on that edge, and we've seen it with Stevie G. Like it's just when you're in that 9/10 range, it's just tough. It's tough living. It's tough living out there.
Yeah, it is indeed. And Merck's not got much ERS left as well, so he's playing very fierce with that. Oh, he's a bit of a moment there. Well, Sway was 1.7 seconds behind. He's now 2.4, so he must have made a mistake, or else he just had a really bad lap. But now that Joe hasn't made a mistake and has actually got himself going again, he's pulled out nearly a second on Alibaba, so that's just, the gap's just starting to come back up again.
Yeah.
He has pulled out a bit of time though on Yarham, so it looks like he is pushing a wee bit.
To be fair to Yarm, he could easily just be coasting in the corners and such. He's got the gap. He doesn't have to push anymore.
I know Yarham could go and make himself a cup of tea and come back and still be in the lead.
Yeah, probably. But you know, at 4 seconds, so look, that's enough to keep you honest. 7 seconds is like, okay, I can just take it easy. I don't have to worry about too much. I can go lean. I can go none. I don't have to be on it as a Psyche. Look at the try come back here.
Is he going to go for it down the inside? It'd be a brave move.
He will.
He's going to go for it. Oh, he's going to go for it. Merc
Very deep.
Seen it coming and he went so deep.
Hey, I can appreciate the effort at the very least.
I appreciate the balls to go and do it.
Yeah. Still within DRS as well, so hasn't cost him too much.
And Sway now is under the 2 second gaps, so we'll see. At the minute, Sway's on for a net 7th place.
Do you think that'd be a disappointment heading into this one?
I don't actually know, because he said before the race that he actually he wanted more of a dry to wet race, or a wet to dry, because he wasn't particularly comfortable in the wet. So I don't know. I think he'd be happy enough at P7 to prefer him.
I'm just looking at the position change. Like, once Chubbs and Merck retire from this race, literally nothing changed in, in the top 10. Literally nothing. Are you
Oh
looking at it?
god. Yeah, I can
It's
see it here now.
absolutely nothing changed. Yarm, Joe, Adimava, Stevie G, Ali, they're all in the same place. Saige's going to end up in the same place he was in. Sway will
Well,
make a net play, will
Swear
make
make
a
one,
net
yeah.
gain. Other than that,
Awesome, awesome dude will lose one. Ripper Rick
yeah,
will stay the same, and
he'll be even.
unsafe
Unsafe release
release
will
will
be
probably say.
even.
Yeah.
PFC Steve will gain a few, and then Bomber as well. But yeah, that, I mean, if that doesn't sum up the race, I'm not sure what else will.
That's not a good sign for Monday, but that just shows wherever the frig you start, you're going to finish.
Basically, it highlights the importance of qualifying. But hey, Markman could have been up there as well, but again, a poor qualifying really hampered him.
Yeah.
You gotta get it right.
I must do myself some China practice after this.
You're telling me.
But Sway has actually closed the gap now, so
1.2 now, and a very wide moment there from Psyche hitting out of that last corner. Gets a penalty. You know, that's another position possibly gained for Sway. But he's definitely, like, I think he's going to be within DRS very, very soon here.
I think he will. He needs Saigate to be in DRSO as well, because they both need to get a lot closer.
Yeah, that would help pull him along. Now, when does, I assume they will retire. When do they retire is the question. When this becomes a 5, like, I'm not sure when.
Probably going to be when this last lap, and they're planning on doing a big long one down the back straight where they just crash into each other and take each other out.
Yeah, that'd be entertaining.
As long as there's nobody else there, sorry. But now he's 8/10 now.
So he is within DRS, and I think Psyche's going to, can he keep it through this corner if he can? Oh, it's so close. Let's see as he goes down. It's just out of it. Can he close up in the braking zone? Activation zone is there, and I think he may have missed it. So Sway's going to have an advantage of DRS here. So maybe it's not over quite yet.
No, definitely not. See, now Sway can maybe get himself another point or two.
He's got a lot more ERS as well as that McLaren, so maybe perhaps this round he's not choosing to use it, but he's definitely knocking on the door.
And other than that, the gaps at everywhere else is just going larger and larger and larger.
Yeah, essentially. So this is what this race is boiled down to, basically a battle between 6th and 7th, essentially, is what we're looking at.
Exactly, that is what it is.
At the end of the day, 3 laps to go. See if Sway can nab himself an extra point, extra 2 points actually, I believe.
Well, unsafe release is pitted, so he's going for fastest lap.
I think Bomber might have the fastest lap. I think he set that lap on the mediums as well. Where's the fastest lap? 33.7. He had initially set the fast lap on mediums, then he's pitted obviously for softs.
Well, unsafe release to prefer can actually. It's actually not a bad.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not a bad call because he's still going to get a point anyway. So
That's
an extra
right.
point for fastest lap.
Worth
Not
it.
a bad call. PFC Steve just does it.
33.6 is what he's looking to beat. As a
PFC Steve virtually burned all his ERS. Look at unsafe release's ERS.
Oh, he's got everything. Sway's basically pushing Psyche out of this snail section, so this move is going to get done. So I'm not sure why, like once he caught up, like, oh, was it? I'm not sure if he's carrying damage or something, but the tyre difference is 1 lap in favour of Sway. But maybe now we're seeing the kind of the tyre difference kind of come through. Maybe. It was just interesting that he's lost so much more time now. That once he fell out of the DRS there of Merck, and then Sway just absolutely gobbled him as Merck goes into the pits, and that should be the race run.
Yeah, that's a retirement for Merck, and Chubbs is going to do the exact same. So.
Yep. So as was agreed beforehand, as a condition they raced, Merck served this penalty. His 5-second penalty. Oh no! I was going to say maybe they were going to do some fastest laps and then retire, but that would actually mean they finished the race.
Yeah, that's what they've done. They've both pitted because they said they were going to pit and like fall back and then like just do a big massive crash for the stream. So that's what they've done. They've both just pitted and now they're just going to literally follow each other and just go for a big ginormous crash.
I'm going to assume it's coming at the end of the hairpin.
It should be roughly around there.
Because Sidegate's still close to Sway. Still within DRS for how much longer?
I think Sway will be happy with that P6 now. I think he'll be very happy with that. Another good handful of points. Yarham finally gets his first win under the board. Joe is consistently getting another podium. He's at a first, a third, and a second now.
They all help at the end of the day, but I mean, Ali's close up a little bit to CVG now as well. But I think it's part of that. It's just they've just dropped off, and as Yarm begins the final lap of this race, where is he? He's just coming through turn 2 and 3. So, yeah, this run has well, it had its moments. There was a nice scrap between the McLarens and the Toro Rossos as well, but yeah, kind of the race at the front. Once Yara made that choice, wasn't really close in the end. After Joe went a little bit longer than perhaps he should have, but we shall see. How, well, I mean, we shall see how it's gonna end up how it is. As I was expecting a big crash here, but nothing is happening so far. It makes me sad. Maybe on the last lap, but
yeah, probably will be on the last lap.
It's coming up to the snail section. I mean, I wouldn't even say he nailed the strategy so much as Joe got it wrong, but yeah, did well to get through the traffic as well. When he had to make up some time, obviously Joe had yet to pit, and so he's obviously well worth his win today.
Yeah, like it just shows you now. Like, look, 3 laps fresher tires, Joe's gained a lot more time. So if he hadn't have made that mistake, like he lost a good 4 seconds in that mistake.
To be fair, like Yarm is probably just taking it easy ever since the mistake.
Yeah, I suppose that is true as well.
There you go. He wins the Chinese Grand Prix by a convincing margin in the end. Congratulations to Yarm. Joe will pick up 2nd place. Then Adi Baba will pick up the final podium spot. Very quiet 3rd place in the end. He pulled away from CVG. He was coming a little bit of pressure there from Ali, a little bit, but he finishes 4th. Ali will finish at 5th. And then the long row back, we'll see Sway take 6th. And then Cygate in 7th. Now, I believe we are owed some fireworks.
I think we are, but I don't know what's going to happen.
Hey.
There we go.
That was a satisfying crash. Awesome Dude picks up 8th place. Ripper Rick will pick up 9th. And Unsafe Release. Now, will you get fastest lap is his question. This is the other part of riding on this. There is a point going for this. I don't believe
there is.
No, it's still with PFC Steve right now. So 33.6 is what he's got to do. This is for an extra point. Moment of truth. This is the most exciting part of this race by far.
Oh, he's not going to do it?
No, he's not going to do it. 34.2. So he gets a point, but this is out on fastest lap there by a little bit. And well, fair play to them. PFC Steve and Bombers up in the greatest race for them, but they will pick up the pieces in P11, and Bomber will take home P12.
That was pretty much the race.
That was the race. That was something. Driver of the day. If you had to, I mean, it's gonna have to be Yarm, right? Not a ton of. Wasn't a ton. Like Sway's always picked up a few positions, and he's literally the only person to pick up a few positions, basically inside the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot else going on.
Nah, I would say Yarham driver of the day.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout.
And that's pretty much the race. It wasn't. It was an okay race to start off with, but then after the pit stops, it just died down.
Yeah, very much so. But we'll go through the running one last time before we wrap up. Yarm takes. Look at that again. We talk to our point. We talked about penalties earlier. Just nothing. Yarm finishes 5 seconds ahead of Joe. Alibaba rounds up the podium in 3rd. DVG 4th. Ali then in 5th. Sway in 6th. Psychic 7th. Awesome Dude 8th. Ripper Rick 9th. And Unsafe Release takes home the final point, followed by Steve and Bomber Sanford. And there you go.
So yeah, hopefully now Monday night it's not as boring, or the end of it's not as boring as it was tonight.
We can only hope so, Dan. falls partly falls part of it falls on us to try and do it. But
So it's alright, Graham. Me and you'll give them a good show. We'll have a good battle at the back.
I look forward to it. But that's going to do it for round number 3 of TMC Division 2. Uh, as Dan mentioned, Division 1 will be on Monday. Kicks off at 8 o'clock. So thanks for watching, and until next time.